HYB panic. Jimin was caught crying. Jungkook reacted immediately. No one expected that the night would become a point of anxiety that spread not only inside the HYB building, but throughout the world. It all started with a 14-second video. A short clip shows Park Jimin standing in the back corner of the rehearsal studio, wearing his black hoodie, crying in silence. The video was not a professional camera shot. It looked like it had been taken hastily, secretly, by someone who shouldn't have been filming. But in less than an hour, the clip spread to Twitter, TikTok, Weverse, and then became a global trend with the hashtag #ProtectJimin. And behind the scenes, HYB immediately panicked. Jimin is known as someone who holds back emotions. Always smiling, always soft. But for ARMY, who knew him from his debut, there was a body language that couldn't be lied to. The way he lowered his head, the slightly quivering shoulders, and the interrupted breath before he wiped away the tears. It didn't take long for the media to start asking, why is Jim crying? And HYB, they lock up any chance of leaking. An emergency meeting was held. All the staff who were on the training floor that night were checked. Even the CCTV of the room was withdrawn for internal investigation, but all too late. The video has already gone to the hearts of millions of fans around the world. And most surprisingly, Jungkook saw it firsthand. According to an anonymous recording staffer, Jungkook was in a vocal session when the video appeared. He only saw the footage once and immediately took off his headphones, exiting the room at a brisk pace. He didn't say anything. But from the way he got out, we knew it was an emergency. He knew where to find Jim. It only took 8 minutes for Jungkook to reach the rehearsal studio. There, according to eyewitnesses, he immediately hugged Jimin from behind, covering him from the sight of everyone in the room. Jimin, who was surprised, had tried to wipe away his tears. But Jungkook only whispered, "You don't have to pretend in front of anyone, including me." That was the sentence that supposedly broke Jimin's defense completely. She cried in Jungkook's arms, not as an idol, not as a performer, but as someone who was exhausted. Hours after the video went viral and information about Jungkook's embrace began to spread through fanbase accounts, HYB released a brief statement. Park Jimin is in good condition. We ask for privacy for our artists and denounce the dissemination of illegally taken videos. But the ARMY was not satisfied. The word good is not enough to explain tears. The word privacy does not adequately hide the collective concern that has grown in the hearts of millions of people. ARMY wants to know what really happened. And for the first time since the last comeback, public pressure began to corner HYB herself. Rumors began circulating that Jimin was facing great pressure due to a duet project with Jungkook that would soon be officially announced. The project, according to industry sources, is not just about music, but it's also about a very deep artistic and personal exploration, and not everyone within the company agrees with his direction. Some senior staff were said to be dissatisfied with the two personal lyrics of the song written by Jimin. There was even news that one of the songs was almost rejected because it was considered too frank and could provoke an excessive reaction from the media, and for Jimin, who has always been known to be a perfectionist and sensitive to people's responses. The rejection was a painful blow. He felt as if what he wanted to share with the world was not being accepted by the place that was supposed to support him. For the ARMY who followed their journey from the beginning, Jungkook is the only person who always knows when Jimin is not okay. And that night was the clearest proof. And no need for a schedule. No need for permission. Jungkook moves on because he knows that behind the spotlight and the camera, Jimin just wants to be understood. After that night, Jungkook is known to accompany Jimin until morning. They don't come to the office as usual. But early in the morning, BTS's official Twitter account uploaded one dark photo, 2 cups of coffee on the window wet from the rain. The caption is just one sentence: for those who stand up even when they are tired. It doesn't say who uploaded it, but many believe it's from Jungkook for Jimin. That morning, the HYB building was quieter than usual. There is pressure, there is an unusual awkwardness. Everyone knows, last night changed everything. But no one dared to speak directly. No one calls video or hugs or tears. Some staff call the atmosphere like the night before a storm. It was quiet, full of fear, but there was also something unstoppable. The truth. Manager Jimin and Jungkook are summoned one by one. The meeting room was full of faces hiding their anxieties. In the midst of it all, one empty seat was never filled, Bang Si-hyuk's seat. Someone finally asked Plan, "Are we going to leave this open? Or are we going to keep it quiet as usual?" No answer. But all know, silencing options have begun to fail. The world has seen. The army knows. That afternoon, Jungkook came alone to the HYB building. Without a manager. Without staff. Only a gray hoodie, a dark hat, and already impatient eyes. He asked for time to talk to senior management. Not an ordinary request, but a request as the second oldest active member of BTS. According to one of the eyewitnesses, Jungkook's voice sounded stern. "If you can't support us as human beings, you don't deserve to sell our music." The sentence shook the whole room. Because for the first time, Jungkook challenged the structure. He's not talking about a comeback or a concert or a strategy. He was talking about Jimin, about how stress after stress slowly turns off the spirit, about how Jimin's lyrics were crossed out, about how the tears came not because of physical fatigue but because the soul was not given room to breathe. That night, around 2200 hours, when the building was already starting to quiet down, Bang Si-hyuk appeared quietly and met Jimin. The meeting was closed. But someone saw Jimin come out with red eyes and a slightly wet mask. Not a lot of people know what they're saying, but a few hours later, an internal email was sent to the entire creative division of HYB. Contents. From now on, Jimin and Jungkook's projects will go their own way. No revision of lyrics, no restriction of expression. We support them as artists. Along with the email, attached a personal note. "I have also lost myself because of my own system. Don't let you guys go through the same thing." 2 days later, Jimin appeared on camera in a simple post on Weverse Live. She's not wearing makeup. No filter effect. Only he and the warm light of his room. He smiled a little. But his eyes tell more than his words. "I'm good." Jungkook said that I don't have to be strong all the time. And that night, I believed him. He paused for a moment, then looked deeper into the camera. "Thank you for secretly understanding. I'm preparing something. Not as an idol, but as someone who has finally learned to listen to himself." And before he closed the live, Jungkook briefly appeared in the background. Just to raise a glass of water and say, "For those of you who survived." The studio wasn't very bright. Only one chandelier lit dimly, gently bouncing on the surface of the microphone hanging in the center of the room. No tech. No manager. No instructions from the monitor screen. Only Jimin and Jungkook. The two people who had passed through the storm were more than the camera I could see. Jungkook sat on the corner of the sofa, holding the lyrics book with his left hand, while his right hand played the headphones he wasn't wearing. Jimin stood in the middle of the room. "Shut up." He reread the lyrics they just composed this afternoon, a song that has not been given a title, but that has contained all the emotions that have not been spoken for years. "Are you sure you want to sing that part yourself?" asked Jungkook slowly. Jimin looked at her for a moment, then nodded. "I have to sing it. Otherwise, everything I hold will still settle. No need to say more." Jungkook knows it's not just a song. This is a letter. A soul note from someone who finally chose to talk. Then as the recording began, and the music flowed softly like the rain of May, Jimin sang the verse in a trembling but unsteady voice. I tried to smile. Even when it cracked me in two, I said I'm fine, but I was vanishing too. Outside the studio, it was raining. But inside, Jimin's voice melted away everything that had never been touched. And when the song was over, when the music stopped and there was only silence, Jungkook got up from the sofa, approached, then placed his hand on Jimin's shoulder. "You're not alone, Hyun. Not tonight. In the future, when the army finally hears this song, they won't know exactly when it was born. But perhaps, just from his voice, they could feel that that night there were tears between the notes, there were hugs between the pauses, and there was love in the silence. Jimin and Jungkook don't have to explain everything, because sometimes, one song is enough to tell everything that has never been said."